welcome to today's edition of Pegasus Test. On today's edition, we're covering 3-point slings in the SA-80. Now, we're here in Finland. I'm with Bloke on the range here, and we have done some LARPing. Bloke is doing Brit Mill LARPing from the
mid-90s, kind of Bosnia.
And I'm going to do a specific Brit Mill LARP from 2006 Afghanistan, specifically Sangin Province 42 Commando. And he has a real, honest-to-God L85, one of the very few semi-auto ones. And when we've been playing this at our Airbnb, he has the original Sling, too. And the first thing that occurred to me, this is the original 3-point sling. 3-point slings were really popular and all the rage back in the 90s, but this predates that. And yet, from what I've seen and using it here in the last couple days, it's actually better than most of the other ones out there. So Bloke's going to go ahead and run us through how to use this 3-point sling.
So this is the 3-point SA-80 sling, the OG one, issued with the rifle. You've got a butt loop for it here. There's some artifacts of the initial idea that 10% of rifles were going to be left-handed because it goes to both sides. You've got an oblique sling loop here, and again that can actually be put on the other side and it's part of the moulding, but that never happened. They only issued right-handed ones. Now it's got one strap that goes along the side of the rifle, conveniently covering 3 of the controls. This rifle is a factory semi, so it doesn't have the selector, but the mag release is there, the bolt release is there, and the selector is there. That's not so optimal, but here you've got a loop that's quite convenient. Doctrinally this was for carrying across the chest, and doctrinally if you wanted full maneuverability because you're bringing the rifle into action, you would pop that off, and then you've basically got a single point loop sling around the butt, and it's relatively easy with one hand to click it back up again. And strangely enough, I find at least that this feels better than a conventional 2-point sling in this configuration, and feels infinitely better than a conventional 1-point sling attached to the butt in this configuration. Then to adjust the length, you've got one buckle here that you can feed it through. Some of the slings are a bit thin and tend to pull out. You've got that tab to loosen off, and then it's worn like that, and then it would be your flag doctrinally that kind of tight, well, a bit tight, so it slackens off across the body, and then to be brought into action, and then I can drop it. So I've got the rifle under, even when I've not got my hands on the rifle, I've got it under full control. It's actually a very good system. Some people will pull the sling through there and have it off the other side. I don't. I actually find that it works better the original way, and what I tend to do is actually use it like a 2-point sling most of the time, but looser. So I tend to have it like this. I've got enough maneuverability to shoot with it on the stages, and I can drop the rifle, and it hangs down like that. And if I really need maneuverability, like doing some VTEC wall stuff, again I can always just loosen that, and it's still off the ground. Even like this, it's hanging kind of a bit above my ankle, kind of at combat boot height, and then to clip it back up, it just goes like that. The tricky bit though is putting it on. Okay, so according to the pamphlets from my era, you're meant to put it on in 2 separate parts, but that's actually really complicated. I was taught a much simpler way, leaving it intact, and apparently that is also taught nowadays, but I've not seen a pamphlet more recent than 2004. But it has been reported to me that that happens. So we have this loop here. We find the free end, this loop up, that goes through the front sling loop like so, and then through that loop, and then through that part of this buckle. And the tricky thing when you've got it separate is there's two ways around this can go and only one of them works. So by leaving it together, you can always just go 1, 2, 3, pull that through, pull it up tight, take the free end through the butt, and then like that. And that's like an entire lesson in the infantry training pamphlet. It's quite substantial, but yeah, you can probably see why doing it in two parts and trying to get it the right way around is a bit of a pest. And then you test that it does in fact do what it's supposed to do, which of course it does.
Well, we hope you found that helpful and informative should you ever get your hands on an SA-80. But we'd like to thank you, tune in, subscribe, and be around for more videos on interesting gear.